Hello, everyone. I'm Brent Raynes of Waynesboro, Tennessee, about, let's say, roughly 95 miles uh, southwest of Nashville, here in the United States of America. I've been following the UFO phenomenon since January of 1967. I edit Alternate Perceptions online magazine, which began back in 1985. I have authored three books so far. In 2004, The Visitors from Hidden Realms, 2009, On the Edge of Reality, and most recently in 2019, John A. Keel, The Man, the Myth, and the Ongoing Mysteries. Now, I believe that the UFO phenomenon, the contact experience, the close encounter events provide perhaps some of our greatest opportunities to really delve deeply into the more complex elements of consciousness and physics. There's a lot to unpack here with regard to these phenomena. And of course, one of my greatest inspirations in the field was the well-known New York journalist John A. Keel, who, as I just stated moments ago, I wrote a book concerning in 2019. Um, the the idea that there is some real anomalous crossover high strange phenomena associated with a lot of these contact and close encounter UFO reports um, should be evident, but a lot of people in the mainstream UFO field are focused strictly on the nuts and bolts ET aspect, and it's a matter of confirmation bias. If it's not doesn't fit with their ideas and belief systems, then it gets put way in the back of a file or simply into the circular file and is soon forgotten about. Um, and one of the best ways for me to express it, as I've expressed it various times before, is that if the uh, cryptozoologist, the person who studies, say, the Loch Ness Monster or the Bigfoot, or maybe even the Mothman, is investigating a case, then the witness describes a poltergeist manifestation, noisy ghost, as they call it, or perhaps a report of a UFO landing from the same witness describing the cryptid event, and then it gets ignored. They say, "Well, that's not my field," or "The shoe could fit on the other person's foot." The ufologist might be investigating a UFO case. Sounds like a good case, and then the witness or witnesses describe some sort of Bigfoot activity or perhaps poltergeist manifestations, and the investigator says, "Whoa, this is not my particular area of expertise." And what we really need is, a lot of multidisciplinary perspective where we take the investigation to wherever the witness describes and look at the broader picture of all of this. And I was just speaking with just a few days ago down in Clearwater, Florida, with a couple of very noteworthy, respected researchers. Nancy Duturtri, the author of How to Talk to an Alien, and PhD neuroscientist Dr. Bob Davis, both of whom have looked deeply into the UFO and paranormal underpinnings. And I asked them what they would like to contribute, and to this type of subject matter. And Bob brought up the fact that we have all these military reports being described, pilots seeing very anomalous airborne phenomena, and it's taken serious study by the Pentagon and now the U.S. Navy. And you know, is anybody asking these witnesses about these other high strange crossover phenomena? Back in 1973, there was in October of that year in Ohio, there was an incident with a military helicopter and four people on board who encountered a UFO. And afterwards, they were notified by someone from the Pentagon who was following their case for about a year afterwards, wanting to know if they had any other unusual experiences. And two of them did share things that happened to them following that encounter that were paranormal, one including an out of body experience. And so, you wonder is, you know, why this area is, so often ignored. John Keel was asked in an interview back, I think, in 1984 by Timothy Green Beckley. There was a lot of resistance back in the around 67 and on when Keel was writing articles about the fact that many of his witnesses to UFO phenomena were also describing a lot of unusual psychic occurrences, poltergeist manifestations, and even cryptid phenomena. And it was a mixed bag. And anyway, Tim Beckley told in the interview to John Keel, it looks like you should feel good. You've made your point. You've succeeded in getting this point across to a resistant field. And Keel responded that it was a hollow victory, that there's, it simply made the phenomena much more complex. And indeed it has. Certainly when I entered the field, I had in my teenage years, a very simplistic point of view. I thought it was either what many ufologists at the time thought, that these were either extraterrestrial visitors, nuts and bolts craft, or else, it was the Air Force was right after all, doggone it. It was all those explainable things, temperature inversion of Venus on the horizon, a weather balloon, swamp gas, even Hynek didn't really think that it was all swamp gas. And so anyway, there's so much more after all of these years, going back to 1947, the beginning of the flying saucer era. But of course, we know from our historical research that these types of phenomena have been going on much, much longer. So, the military of our country and other nations don't need to get all worried. This is not something that's really new. We could take it back to many different ancient cultures, descriptions of perhaps in the biblical descriptions of fiery chariots, the stories of Enoch and Ezekiel. Were they not contactees? Well, anyway, that's my 2 cents worth, and I think that there's a lot more to be learned about these phenomena than even a lot of the mainstream ufologists contemplate. So anyway, as I said, that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you for giving this a listen. Take care.